Hello, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. Good morning, afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. I did it too.
Giving you all a minute to join us. While you're here, share, tag somebody. Tell them they might get something good out of today's talk. If you believe that your time has come, this is the day for you. Your time has come. We're just giving a couple minutes. I see more of you joining in. Hey, if you don't mind, let us know who's here. We'd love to know who is here engaging with us today if you're comfortable with that. Otherwise, you can stay incognito. We won't bother you about it, but we would love to know who's with us if you're comfortable, if you feel so compelled. Happy Sunday to you. Hope your week has gone well. Hope you have experienced blessings and peace and prosperity and favor and all the good things that make life go good, go well. I hope that's what you've been walking in. The reality is that life is always a mix of both good and bad. But the fact that you're here lets me know that you made it through everything bad and everything good, and you're still standing. You still have a mind to grow. You still have a mind to do better, to be better, to see better, to experience better. And I do believe, declare, and decree that you will experience better in this life, not just later, but in this life. And so I just want to encourage you today, no matter what you've been going through, things are going to get better. I heard Camille singing a song from years ago from another season of our lives. Uh, things are going to get better. Keep holding on. It's just stormy weather. It's passing along. It's gonna be. It's gonna be. It's gonna be. It's gonna be. It's gonna be all right. I remember that was one of the earlier songs that I wrote, and Camille was singing on it. She was singing. See, when you can really sing, you don't sing. You take the I away and you add an A instead and just start singing. But we are glad for you today. Hopefully, you're encouraged. We do have something to share with you today. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for sharing if you've shared. Thanks for commenting if you commented. What's up, Stephanie?
Hey, Stephanie.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Always good to see my sister. Hope you all are well today. So I want to go to the book of Joshua today. Old Testament today, uh, but Old Testament in a way that is a metaphor for the transition from what was to what would be. Joshua signals the transition from the leadership of Moses and that generation that was not able to walk into the promised land to a transition to a new generation. Ah, my goodness, a new generation that the first instruction that Joshua received as the leader is that you're going to take them further than what Moses could take them. You're about to move into a new dimension. I'm moving you into what I promised the generations that came before you. I'm getting excited all by myself already today. Y'all ain't ready for me. I feel a revelation. And so he begins to speak to Joshua in this very first chapter of Joshua to tell him that you're about to do something that the amazing people who came before you were unable to do. That you're about to reach forth into breakthrough territories that they could only dream about. That you, oh my goodness, that you're about to stand on the shoulders of those who came before you and go higher and further than they were allowed or even equipped to be able to go. There is something about this next generation. Oh my goodness. There's something about this next generation that's going to begin to allow you to stop walking around in circles in the wilderness and to go in and to actualize and to tangibly hold in your hand the thing that has been promised to your people. And so we find this scripture, the very first chapter of the book of Joshua. The very first verse begins to set the stage. I'm reading from the New Living Translation, and it reads, "After the death of Moses, the Lord's servant, the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' assistant. He said, 'Moses, my servant, is dead. Therefore, the time has come for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the land I am giving them. I promise you what I promised Moses. Wherever you set foot, you will be on land I have given you. From the Negev wilderness in the south to the Lebanon mountains in the north, from the Euphrates River in the east to the Mediterranean Sea in the west, including all the land of the Hittites, no one will be able to stand against you as long as you live, for I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you." Then he continues in verse 6, "Be strong and courageous, for you are the one." Oh God, I got to stop right there. And I just want you to type, "I am the one. I am the one." He says, "For I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Be strong and courageous, for you are the one who will lead these people to possess all the land I swore to their ancestors I would give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the instructions Moses gave you. Do not deviate from them, those instructions, turning either to the right or to the left. Then you will be successful in everything you do. Study this book of instruction continually, meditate on it day and night, so you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do." Verse 9, the last verse I'll read. "This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." And I just wanted to come on and talk to you all for a few minutes from the subject, your time has come. Your time, you, that person who just stumbled on this stream, your time has come. You, that person who's watching on the rebroadcast and is feeling like, "I don't know if I'll ever experience more. I don't know if I'll ever feel better." Your time has come, and your time is now. Ah, goodness. I feel an assignment to encourage somebody today who has been serving in the background, that this is the time, this is the season, this is the era where you are going from the background to the forefront. Your time has come. And we see in the beginning of this passage, that first verse that I read, the stage begins to be set. The setting, as you open up the book of Joshua, is a setting. You enter right into a place of mourning. A place, and not M-O-R-N-I-N-G, but M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G, a place where they are lamenting and sorrowful and mourning the death of Moses. Now, these individuals had been serving under Moses, who was likely at that time the greatest leader humankind had ever experienced. We are talking about that same Moses who went up on the mountain and received the Ten Commandments. We are talking about that same Moses who God had given revelation to and revealed to him what had happened at the beginning of humanity. And he wrote the first 5 books of what we read today as the Bible, the Pentateuch, the Torah, the law of Moses. He is the author of the story of creation that has lasted for all of civilization since then. We're talking about the Moses who was the basket case, the Moses who as a baby was put in the river, sent down the stream. He was an Israelite, but he was raised as an Egyptian in the house of the Pharaoh. My goodness, that Moses who had learned how to operate in two cultures. That Moses who had the ability to recognize how to talk to kings and how to deal with servants. That Moses who had no real home. That Moses who was able to function with the Egyptians and with the Israelites, who had a lot of Israelite in him, but knew how to have the tongue of the aristocratic portion of the Egyptian civilization. That Moses who had led who had went to Pharaoh as he became the leader of Israel and said, "Let my people go." Y'all know him. You saw the movie, The Ten Commandments. Your grandmama made you watch it. That Moses who, oh my goodness, led the children of Israel to the Red Sea, took his staff, put his staff on the ground, parted the Red Sea. They walked across on dry ground, and Pharaoh's army that was behind them came and drowned as the water enclosed back around them. They saw this man lead them through triumphs. They saw this man perform miracles. They saw this man experience face-to-face interaction with God. They saw him come down from the mountain with a glorified face because he had been the first one to be in the presence of God. We saw this. They saw him speak to God and God would change things. They saw him pray to God and the miraculous would be ushered in. And now we enter into this verse and we see that Moses is dead. Now, can you imagine, after being led by such a triumphant leader, such a charismatic force, such a person with such a tight connection to God that and they fought against even him. But can you imagine after being led by him and you have been serving as his assistant? Joshua had been his backup man. He had been his backup in the wings, his administrative assistant, his personal assistant, assisting him, his armor bearer, getting him what he needed, serving for him in a role that probably at times felt menial. And now you are thrust by the word of God to be the next leader of these people. You have been in the background. You've been spying out the land of Canaan. You and Caleb were the only two spies who came back with a good report. And now Joshua, it's your turn. It's your time to follow in the footsteps of the one who determined what leadership would look like for the children of Israel. That would be intimidating to me. When you have to come behind someone who had set all the records, when you had to come behind someone who seemed like they had such a grasp and a handle on how to lead, and now God turns to you and says, all right, I need you to come do the next leg of the relay. I need you to take the baton and to run further. I need you to do what Moses failed to do. Oh my goodness. The intimidation, the nerves, the emotions that had to be churning on the inside of Joshua, the self-talk that had to keep him up at night. How could you possibly think that you're going to be the leader like Moses? How are you going to follow in the shadow of Moses? How are you going to come along and prove who you are as an individual and as a leader in yourself when all you have ever been is a spy and an assistant? Oh my goodness. So after the death of Moses, and then this makes it weird, the Lord's servant. The text even describes him just like it just sets him on a pedestal. After the death of Moses, the Lord's servant, here come this guy, this Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant. See the differentiation in the descriptions? We talk about Moses and he's the Lord's servant. We talk about Joshua and he's Moses' assistant. This parallel, this is already setting him up to begin to feel some kind of way, to have some self-confidence issues, to have some feelings of being less than, to have some feelings of being not enough. But he's introduced after the death of Moses, the Lord's servant. The Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' assistant. So God's now talking to him. And the Lord said, Moses, my servant, is dead. Everything, the folklore, the myth, the legend of Moses, the story has ended. My servant is dead. And therefore, God said, the time has come for you to lead these people. Have you ever been put in an assignment or given an assignment from God that just felt like it was too much? Have you ever been called to do something that you have no idea how in the world you're supposed to do it? God says, I don't care. He didn't address his feelings. He didn't address his insecurities. He said, therefore, Moses gone. All that stuff, that's done. Therefore, the time has come for you to step into your leadership voice. The time has come for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the promised land, into the land I am giving them. And because I think then he must have felt Joshua's insecurities flaring up, he began to give him a word of confidence that I want to share with you that's just as relevant for you and I as it would have been for Joshua. He said, I promise you what I promised Moses. That alone ought to begin to bring some hope, some security, some peace. I promise you what I promised Moses. Wherever you set your foot on, I'm going to give it to you. Same thing I told Moses. I'm giving you. I am transferring the promises I gave to Moses to you. It's an inherited promise. There's a legacy in you I need you to fulfill. And I'm going to give you that same promise. From the Negev wilderness in the south to the Lebanon mountains in the north, the Euphrates in the east, Mediterranean in the west, all the land of your enemies, the Hittites, he says in verse 5, no one will be able to stand against you. As long as you live, for I will be with you as I was with Moses. Again, he's dealing with those insecurities that are on the inside of him. I know you're wondering how you're going to do this without Moses. Because I did it for Moses, and I'm going to do it for you. And I'm here to tell you today, the same God that did it for your grandparents, the same God that did it for Moses and Joshua, we come to find, that same God is with you. And the reason that we're able to conquer the promises of God, the reason that we're able to overcome the challenges and the problems that life brings us is not because of our own goodness, but it's because he is with us. For I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. All right, I'm talking too much. I got through 5 verses. I want to leave room for the revelation of this prophetess to my side, this great woman of God, this great thinker, and she is all of that. What you getting from this so far?
Oh, I'm just looking at when I read it from the amplified version, and I'm not about to read it all. But
you saying I picked too many?
It's a lot of verses, but we know what's going on, right? But I like in the amplified version, it shows a header and it says God's commission to Joshua. And when you look at the definition for the word commission, it's instruction, a command or duty given to a person or a group of people. Another definition is a group of people officially charged with a particular function. This is a big deal. And it's a big deal, but it's also big in the fact that God trusts him with this this duty. And same thing with us. God trusts us with these things that he has for us to do. I love how, when I'm looking at this, how this comes with instruction. It comes with promise. So he's getting instruction like, be strong and courageous. And I like how Rajel points out that he was speaking to the fear that was rising up in him. In the amplified version, some of the wording used was Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified or dismayed.
Mm.
Don't be intimidated. For the Lord your God is with you forever. But, all those things that rise up in us when something huge falls on us, when there's this huge commission, and we know it's something that's bigger than us, but it's something we have to do. We have this instruction to be strong, to be courageous. Don't let those feelings of being terrified or intimidated stop you from what you're supposed to be going for. The other instruction is, and this is so big because I think people drop this a lot of times, do it according to the book of the law.
Mm.
So we can't forget that we need to do this within the right context, right? With the right mindset, with following the instruction that's in the book, that's going to help us fulfill this promise or this duty. And then it also comes with promises, right? So God says, I am faithful to you. I think it was in your version. It said he would be faithful to Joshua. In the Amplified version, it says, I am with you wherever you go. And so we can rest in that when there's something bigger than us, something that we're fearful of taking on and walking it out. Always remember that God is faithful. He is with us wherever we go. The other promise he gives is, I have given you every place where your foot treads. Like when you get this, it's like when you get this commission, it's a package.
Yeah.
It's coming with instruction and it's coming with these promises, but you need to do it in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we walk into assignments and instructions that feel bigger than us. But as Camille said, that means God trusts us.
Yeah.
He trusts you with the assignment he's given you, or else he wouldn't have given you the assignment. I want that to sink in for somebody today. Whatever it is that God is waiting on you to do, it's because he trusts that you can do it with his help. And he's not just going to leave you. He's going to set you up. He wants you to be successful at doing what he wants done. So he trusts you enough to say, I can put this assignment on her. I can put this assignment on him. With me, they can handle it. Right? With me, they can endure what they got to endure. They can get through those insecurities. They can get through that intimidation. I love that word that you threw in there, because it feels intimidating sometimes to think about, okay, how am I going to do what God wants me to do? How am I going to do something? It feels too big. Right. Sorry, our internet just doing all kind of things lately. But I'm going to say that again just in case it didn't come through. Your assignment fits you. He wouldn't have given it to you if it did not fit. Your assignment is tailor-made for your personality, for your skill set, for your history, and for your future.
I would add in for your development too.
Yeah, talk about it. That's good.
It's like sorry, I was getting an Amber Alert on my phone. For our development too, and that's a lot of times why we don't feel worthy, or why we can feel so terrified, because we're like, I don't have the ability to do all this. Well, that's the part where we lean on him and his help and his instruction, and as we walk through it, we continuously have to remind ourselves God is faithful.
Yeah.
And through that, how much stuff do we learn when we're in situations that are bigger than us? When we come through it, when we come to the other side and everything is said and done, or you've completed the assignment, or you're at another level of this assignment, look at how developed you are. What has grown within you at that point?
Yeah. So then verse 6. I get real excited when I get to verse 6, because when God starts repeating himself, and he does it to us all the time, he's really trying to drive his point home. And he kept giving them that instruction: be strong and courageous. Now, it needed to be a combination of both things. He couldn't just say, be strong. So, whatever it is that you're facing, your strength alone isn't enough. He said, you got to be strong and courageous. Like, so courageous is what comes into play when your strength isn't enough. Oh, my goodness. By adding that and, he says, I don't just need you to be strong, and I don't just need you to be courageous. I need you to be strong and courageous. Your strength alone will bring you into some situations that will intimidate you and make you go curl up in fetal position and not even try anymore. But if you're only courageous alone, then you're just walking in with pride but no preparation. If you're only courageous, you're walking in and the thing is going to beat you up, because you need the combination of the strength that you have developed to get you to the place that you are right now, along with the courage, which translates to faith. Oh my goodness. To begin to recognize that where my strength runs out, God's runs in. I wish somebody would type that. That felt good when it came on my mouth. When my strength runs out, God's strength runs in. And so he said, be strong and courageous. And then I love this next part. I'm getting excited. I'm sorry, I got to calm down. I'm getting excited though, because he says, "Not be strong and courageous, for you are the one." Mm-hmm. And I came to tell you today, the assignments that stand in front of you, the challenges that look like they're going to overpower you and overtake you, the things that you're called to that you don't know how it's possibly going to materialize and manifest in your life, the feelings that you have of insecurity that make you feel like there's no way that you could possibly do it. I need you to begin to cancel that out and to hear the word of the Lord speak to you today. You need to recognize that you are the one. I wish you would type, I'm the one. I'm the one. You already typed it, Stephanie. I love it. Type it, I'm the one. Whether you're watching live or on the rebroadcast, I am the one. I'm the one. In other words, there is no one else who is more qualified or capable to handle the assignment that is before you than you. This assignment requires everything that you have been through. This assignment requires your temperament. This assignment requires the skills, talents, abilities, and influence that you have gained on your walk and on your journey to date, to this point, from your beginning to now. This is what it has prepared you. You have fulfilled the prerequisite requirements, and you are the one. You are the one who can do this with the help of God. You are the one that he wants to use to take the people to this next level. You are the one who is able to do this thing because you are hard-headed enough to keep on going. You are stubborn enough to keep on pressing your way. You have just such crazy faith enough that you can begin to rely on him. You have the ability to have the right combination of strength and courage. You are the one. Somebody else would mess it up. They would talk too much. Somebody else would mess it up. They would talk too little. He needed the combination of introvert and extrovert that you are. He needed just that right mix. He fine-tuned you and made you ready for the assignment. Every experience that you've had from your childhood on has equipped you. You know some things. You've gained some wisdom from some failures. You know what it's like to be the assistant. You know what it's like to be in the background. And now he's bringing you into the forefront because it's not going to be lost on you what's needed. You are the one. Any thoughts?
Well, verse 6 in the Amplified Version says, be strong and confident and courageous. And so when you add in that confidence, that means be self-assured.
Wow.
So when you're adding to that combination that you were describing in the version you read, you're adding in self-assurance to the strength and to the bravery that it requires to walk this out.
Wow. You the one. Mm-hmm. You the one.
He's giving license to be these things so you can do it. So he's saying, no, be self-assured.
Yeah.
Be confident in yourself. Be strong. Be courageous. Even if you haven't done it before, be those things because you can, because you're the one.
Some issues with our connectivity today. But if you've ever engaged somebody who's very self-assured, one of the qualities and actions that we begin to see from people like this particular family member is that they will go after opportunities that we deem as like you're not even qualified for
Right,
it.
out of your league.
Right. They will stand with courage and confidence and strength in the face of whatever is set before them. And there's like nobody can tell them you can't do it because they're like, no, I'm pretty sure I can figure it out. I can do it. And this is the thing: God is calling for us in certain aspects of our leadership and our lives and our assignment and our calling to Him to walk in self assurance, even if that's not a natural thing for us, like Camille was just saying. There's some things that require such a confidence that require you to say, you know what? I might not be able to do it in my own strength, but I got good news. I'm not only operating in my strength. Oh my goodness. I'm confident and I'm courageous in the understanding that I have the omnipotent with me in this assignment. He told me over and over again, he's not going to leave me. So be strong and courageous, for you are the one. So we need you to be self-assured.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I want to add
No, you're
to
good.
just when you look up confidence, just some of the things that I'm finding. This one says feeling sure of yourself and your abilities, not in an arrogant way, but in a realistic, secure way. I like that word, secure. So being confident in yourself, being secure in yourself.
I know that what's in me will begin to work the right way for this situation I'm facing. And really what that does is that allow your confidence sometimes speaks praise to your maker. Like sometimes our lack of confidence is probably, I would imagine, an insult to God. Like, I made you for this. And we're continually telling him, I can't do it. I'm not enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not built like that. And he's saying, wait, I built you. So really our lack of confidence is an insult to our creator. Oh my goodness. So he says, be strong and confident in the Amplified and courageous, for you are the one. The one who? You are the one who will lead these people. They took us as far as they could take us. But now we're speaking to the next generation. Now we're speaking to this next generation, and God is saying, now I'm going to use you to do what they didn't do. I'm gonna have them pass the baton to you so that you can stand on their shoulders and go to the next generation. It's not that we're better than them, it's that they equipped us for more. They sacrificed so that we could have more. In many cases, they didn't go to college so that they could go to work so that we could go to college. We have access to more opportunities. We have access to more information. They didn't have Google to tell them the answers to every question. Every generation, the Bible says, gets wiser but weaker. But this is telling us that we don't have to walk in the weaker. We can be wiser and stronger because we can stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and we can reach higher. We can go further. We can use what they've learned. We can learn from their mistakes, and we can move further forward because of what they've been through. So he says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you're the one who will lead these people to possess, not just to see what I promised, but to tangibly hold what I promised. I'm taking you, next generation, further than they were able to go. The things they dreamed about, you're going to actualize and you're going to live in. The things they daydreamed about, you're going to wake up and walk in it. Oh my goodness. We see it happening. If you think about the way we live, the opportunities we have, the different generationally, the different things that we feel confident and self-assured to do, the freedoms that we have that generations who came before us didn't have, we're supposed to go further. They wanted us to go further. That's why they sacrificed. And so he says, I'm going to use you to possess what they dreamed of. Your calling is to tangibly hold what the generations that preceded you dreamed of. Thoughts?
Mm-mm.
All right. So then he goes on, and look what he says at the beginning of verse 7. Once again, he says, be strong, but this time he says, and very courageous. I'm really curious what the Amplified says in verse 7.
It says, only be strong and very courageous.
My goodness. So don't be weak.
Those are your only choices.
Like when you throw in that only, it's like get rid of all the weakness, get rid of all the timidity. Oh, who am I talking to today? Stop talking yourself out of leadership. Stop talking yourself out of wealth. Stop talking yourself out of everything that he promised to your fathers, your grandfathers, your grandmothers. Stop talking yourself out of freedom. Stop talking yourself out of being able to go indoors, tackle opportunities. Stop minimizing what God has maximized.
I look at it like God is saying, you give yourself options to be terrified, dismayed, afraid, not confident, but these are the things. This is these are the options I'm giving you.
Mm-hmm.
Only strength and courageousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have. Those are your options, and you need to do both.
Only.
Like,
don't do nothing else. If it doesn't align with strength and confidence and courageousness, then it's not what you need to be in this season. Anybody who's going to begin to bring the promises of God into the tangible hand, you can't afford to be timid. You can't afford to be afraid. You can't afford to operate like you're timid. You can't afford to operate like you're afraid.
There's no room.
Yeah, you can't do it. I'm laughing because I thought about this week we took Caden to a field trip, and it was a skating rink. So
I told you it was gonna be a testimony for you.
Did you?
Yeah.
So I put on my skates, and I haven't skated for probably 30 years, and I wasn't that good then. And it was crazy because these little 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and younger, they going around and they just flying around the big skating ring. I'm like, I'm not going out there. No.
They also were
They
falling,
were falling, and I
getting
was
back up,
yeah.
going again.
They didn't care.
Fall, get back up.
Go again, fall. But what I saw is my nearly 50-year-old frame. When I fall, my mind told me, when you fall, you're not getting back up and going again. You're going to have to be like, I have fallen and I cannot get up. And I don't have one of those things around my neck that lady was advertising. And so I had, and I laugh at it right now. I laughed at it then. I had real fear enter me. Like, for real. I'm being vulnerable with y'all. Like, I told Camille, I don't think she believed me the first time I said it, but the second time I think she knew I was for real. I said, I'm like for real, legit afraid. Like I was dealing with this debilitating factor of fear that made me say, I was saying, I'm not going out on that rink. I will skate a little bit over here on this carpet on the side that's not in the rink to get used to it, but I will not go out on that rink as my nearly 50-year-old self and humiliate myself and be concerned about my image and hurt my feelings and my body. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I could fall. That's how fear works. Because you gave
yourself options of fearfulness
Mm-hmm.
and terror,
timidity, intimidation.
Yep.
But so it started bothering me after a little while. after a long while, because this thing was about to be over, and I still hadn't gone out on that big wood rink. But it started bothering me because, and I was laughing even when I was saying it to Camille. I'm like, I'm for real, like legit afraid. Here I am, this grown man, always professing all this stuff. I didn't have confidence.
You weren't self-assured.
I wasn't
You were
self-assured.
not secure.
I wasn't secure. I wasn't strong. I wasn't any of the things.
You weren't only being strong and very courageous.
I wasn't being that at all, let alone only. So I said, all right, I ain't gonna go out like this. Eventually, I was like, I can't let this day end and not at least go around once. So I thought Camille was coming with me at first. She got distracted by somebody else doing something else. Next thing I know, I'm out on the rink. And I went around. I was, okay, I'm pretty smooth. I'm getting it back. I'm getting it back. And so when you try it, when you step out there, your confidence begins to come back. And then that's when the enemy says, uh-oh, I don't want no confidence to live there. So he calls this little boy with dreads that was on the little machine that looked like a walker
A
that
trainer.
helps you, a trainer. And he wiped out right in front of me. Now, I can't turn good.
It was on the curve.
It was on the curve, and I needed to find a way around him. I was like, oh boy, if I go over him, I weigh a lot. And he's a little boy. And I would hurt him. And so I had to try to maneuver myself, and I did. I got right around him, and then I felt my body going, oh. I thought I was about to fall. I put my hand on the ground, but I didn't fall. I lifted myself back up, and then I felt all
You
right.
were determined not to fall.
I was
weren't you?
determined not to fall because I didn't know what would happen. And so then I made it around one time. So I said, you know what? I'm going again. Then the next time I jumped off and I was like, I'm going to wait for Camille and I'm going to skate with my wife around the rink. And so she came by and I came out there with her and I skated with her as long as I keep up with her. Just that long. And then she took off, but I still felt all right. And I said, okay, I made it through here 3 or 4 times. I'm done. But this is the thing. Fear will paralyze you. And it will self-check you to not go after whatever your goal is. For me, in that example, it was just skate around the rink. Fear will tell you you can't do what you actually can. And so you have to be willing to put aside, I don't know who I'm talking to today. You have to be willing to put aside that fear of what failure looks like. Because many times we allow our fear of what failure might look like to deter us from even going after a goal that we have in us.
Won't even start.
Yep. And so we'll never succeed if we never allow ourselves to push past the image we have in our head that, oh, when I fall, everybody gonna laugh. Oh, when I fall, I'm gonna break my leg. Like, we come up with this wild stuff. Like, it's probably even unlikely. I don't need any comments about that.
And this is the thing, what I loved, the lesson that I love seeing in the children is that they didn't care that they were gonna fall or that they fell. They kept going and having a good time. And after a while, for those who roller skate, you know, it gets easier. You get better at it because you're used to the wheels and the slippery floor, and you adjust as needed. But they're learning as they go. But it was, and I remember saying something to you like, but it's an expectation that folks are gonna fall. So you can't be worried about falling. Like, if you fall, just get back up. So what? So, but yeah, there is, you know, we make up in our minds what cannot happen.
Mm-hmm.
If I try this, or I'm not going to try this because this might happen, but there's a whole other mindset of, I don't care if I fall, I'm getting right back up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't let falling stop you from trying. Don't let the fear of falling stop you from trying. That's a word right there. Don't let the fear of failure stop you from trying. All right, I'm just going to read the rest of it. Be strong and very courageous. Then Camille talked about how it points you back to the book. Be careful to obey all the instructions Moses gave you. the law of Moses. Do not deviate from them, turning either to the right or to the left. Then you will be successful in everything you do. In everything you do. Even your falls will be success. Oh my goodness. All things work together for the good of them who love the Lord. Even our mistakes come back to work together to teach us something. All right? Study this book of instruction, again, the law of Moses, continually. Meditate on it day and night so you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do. All you do. You will never succeed in what you don't do. You catch that? If you will do it the way that you've been instructed to do, the way that God has spoken to you, if you will do it, then everything you do is going to end in success. But if you decide, I'm not skating, I'm not going out there. If you don't do it, you will never have a testimony. All for a testimony. You will never have a testimony that you did it because you didn't try. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do. This is my command. And look, he had to reinforce it again because he's speaking to his insecurities. And our insecurities are loud. So God sometimes has to get persistent with us. And he says, this is my command. This isn't an option. This isn't advice. This is my command. Be strong and courageous! Exclamation point.
This cracks me up. This version says, have I not commanded you?
Right.
Like, didn't I tell you?
Right. Didn't I tell you? Go for it. Do it. Try. Walk them into the promise. Skate.
Didn't I say it? That's what it's like he's saying. Wasn't it I
Right.
who gave you this command?
Right. Why would I tell you to do something that you would fail at? Is probably what God would be thinking. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged. Discourage. Without courage. Don't be without courage. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you. Ah, God, just breathe on that. For the Lord your God is with you. You might not be able to do it in your own strength, but the Lord your God is with you. You might not see how you could possibly fill the shoes of those who have come before you, but the Lord your God is with you. You might not see how you could be successful at starting the business, but the Lord your God is with you. You might feel like there's no way you could develop certain disciplines in your life. You've lived far too long without discipline, but the Lord your God is with you. You might feel like you're going to be an absolute failure. How could you be a parent when you didn't have an example of a parent? But the Lord your God is with you. You might feel like you are ill-equipped for the assignment that is before you, and there's no way that you could ever find success, but the Lord your God is with you.
He's faithful.
Yeah. And it says he's with you wherever you go. Verb. But he's in the movement.
Don't get this mixed up with I can do whatever I want and God is going to bless everything that I do because I made the decision to do that.
That's why he said you got to
back
follow
it on
his
up,
laws
right?
and instructions.
This is, verse 8 says, "This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall read and meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything in accordance with all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will be successful."
Well, and that's the power of alignment. Like, when I'm aligning with what God wants, he guarantees success. Oh my. It doesn't mean everything's going to always go just how you want it or how you expect it or how you think it's going to go. Doesn't mean you won't fall, but he guarantees ultimate success if you're going after what he told you to go after. So alignment is the prereq. Oh my goodness. So your time has come. You are the one to do exactly what he's called you to do. You're the one. You're the one for that assignment. You were created for this. You were born for this. You were made for this. That's what I have for you. You got anything else? You the one.
Mm-mm.
You the one.
You're the one.
Love y'all.